Hey everyone, and welcome to your Photoshop Creative Challenge. My name is Wade Acuff. I'll be your host for the next few days. We're about to wrap up these challenges, but we're not done yet. Um, I want to say hello to chat first off. How's it going, everybody? And to let everybody know that there are more links for more challenges in the description below, as well as links to our Discord at bit.ly/psdiscord. The Discord's really starting to get loaded up with some really nice work. I appreciate all the effort that you guys are putting in. There's also a starter file, and there is a share for review file. We've been talking about this all week, and we're still working on it. We've got a lot of really good comments coming in. Marsha going off over here. Really nice suggestions. You can still get your suggestions in. We're going to use this on Friday to kind of clean this up, make this a little bit more presentable for our Smacks Lifestyle brand brochure. But yeah, there's more time to get in comments if you want to put those in. So be sure to do that. And let's move on to today's challenge. All right, we've got architecture sketch effect. Use perspective tools and filters to transform architectural photos into sketches. All right, so this is there's a lot of steps to this one. So I've kind of pre-started. First, let me make sure I say hello to chat again and happy birthday, Cody Bear. We have to get that in there. Everybody wish Cody a happy birthday. All right, so here's the kind of pre-setup. I went and found a photo on stock.adobe.com/free. And one that has pretty clean lines. I would suggest something like this, something that's 3/4 view. You get some fun angles. And this canvas size is 3000 by 2000, 300 ppi. All right, so yes, we're pretending to be an architect today. That's right, we're channeling our inner George Costanza, I suppose. All right, so to start this off, let's take this copy, make a copy of this by holding Alt or Option and just dragging this up. And then we want to desaturate this. You can come over to Image, Adjustment, and all the way down here to desaturate. Take note of the shortcut because I will be using that from here on out. I think there's a couple of times we're going to use this again. I'm going to immediately crush this down a little bit by using levels. I'm going to use levels. I'm going to be destructive. If you do this, you can come to Adjustments, Levels, or Control L, which is what I like to use. So I'm trying to eliminate some of these, bring up some of these mid-tones. Whatever your image might be, that's kind of what we're trying to get to is, I don't want to lose the sky, but I want to bring up some of these darker areas to more of a gray. And something like that works fine. I'm going to make a copy of this one. And what are we gonna do? Oh, so I want to invert this, Control I, and get the inverse of this. What we're trying to aim for is we're going to start making an outline of the image. But just real quick as we move along, when you invert your image, if you go to color dodge, you should see nothing. That's the way these work. So we're going to use color dodge though, and it's going to give us a little bit of an outline because we're going to go to Filter, Other, Minimum, and make sure that your preserve squareness is on and not round. We want to keep this nice and square. This is where we start to get our outline. You can adjust this radius depending on your canvas and what size you would like. I mean, obviously some of these lines are fairly thick. So I'm going to keep this really small, somewhere around 3 for me. I'm going to click OK. And just another note here, if you've seen this look before, it's because if you've seen a lot of those, like, hey, upload a picture, push a button, and make it a drawing, this is kind of what's happening. You're just getting an outline of the image. It's not really a drawn line, so it kind of looks, you know, sketchy that way. But it's going to work fine for our purposes. Also to note, if you turn off, I'm about to merge these down, which is why I haven't named them. If you turn this off, this middle layer off, you start to see something interesting. This is almost a cell shading, and you could use it for those purposes. And also color dodge or any of these linear dodge, any of those effects will also start to soften the lighting, flatten your lighting out. because that's the original. And then we start to flatten it out, and you could adjust this. Just showing that along the way in case you ever want to use this on a photo for another reason. Not what we're using it for today, but just an FYI. All right, back to this. I'm going to merge these down. And this is going to be our main sketch. I'm going to name this main. Bump back in here. Let's see. All right, make a copy of the original photo. And I'm going to find the edges of this by going to Filter, Stylize, Find Edges. And then again, we're going to use that desaturate hotkey, Control-Shift-U to desaturate. And I'm going to keep a copy of this because I like what it does. Like, I'm kind of losing the outline of our building, but I like this. But that's not what we're using this layer for, but I'm going to bring it back later. So I'm going to make a copy of that, turn it off for now. And then on this copy, we're going to start adding vertical lines. So I'm going to call this vert lines. And then over in filter, I'm going to come down to blur, motion blur. And I believe this is usually set at 0 when you pop in. Make sure you set your angle to 90. And if I scale this all the way down, there's nothing happening. So I just take it all the way. We just want lines. So I'm taking it all the way to the max. Click OK. And then we can switch this to multiply, and you start to see what we're getting here. We're starting to see sort of the vertical lines we're looking for. To make this a little bit more darker, you could just crush this down with curves, which we are going to do in a minute. But you can also go to Filter, Sharpen. Filter, yeah, Sharpen, Smart Sharpen. And I would say take a screenshot of this, because all I've done is move the amounts over to the max and go to motion blur and set that at 0. I know it doesn't make any sense, but it does make the lines look nice and crisp. Click OK. There are multiple ways to make crisp lines like this, but we're just trying to get some quick vertical lines. Now I am going to take this and just start squeezing out, just starting to squeeze out some of the lighter lines. And obviously that's still way too much, but we're going to add a layer mask to this. We're going to go over to layer, layer mask, hide all, and it's going to add a layer mask over here. And let's see, so from there I want to paint those lines back in. So I'm going to make sure my brush is set to white. I'm selecting a soft round brush. And then I'm just going to paint over the areas that I do have pin pressure on. You don't have to have pin pressure to make this work, but I'm just going to bring back some of the lines that I want to keep. Just brushing them back into place. I even want some of these edges. I don't know why, I kind of like the way that looks. So I'm going to bring some of that back, just nice and faded. From there, we can go ahead and add our top layer, or like I want to bring the top back to the building. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add a hide all, but I'm going to do it down here with the layer mask and hold down Alt or Option and click. That will give you a hide all layer mask. And then I'm going to paint in just the tops because I just want to keep some of the tops. Maybe this area right here, something like this. All right, let me take a look at chat. See if we see anything going on. Okay, cool. Just bringing this top back because we're going to use the top of this to do something we did last week. I saw that a lot of people didn't know that you could apply a brush stroke to a pin path. And so that's what we're going to do to get our perspective lines, and I'm going to call this perspective. And so we're going to need a couple of things here. We're going to need the pin tool. We're going to need the direct, I think we're going to use the direct selection and not the path selection for most of this, but both will get you there. But you can either select the pin tool or you can press P because that's a hotkey. It's so hot, it is sizzling. Okay, I'm going to just make 2 points, and then A will get you to your your path tools, if you press Shift and toggle A, you can just see me hitting A over here. It will go from the path selection, which is the black arrow, to the white arrow, which is the direct selection. And I'm just going to use the direct selection for this and start selecting these lines. I do want them to extend past where the eave of this would be. I'm just going to go right on past it. And even with that selected, if you press down Alt or Option, you can just drag out a new line and then make adjustments with that. Kind of line this up. Make a new line, Alt again, Alt or Option to grab it. Now you do have to tap on the end of these to select them, just so that it knows that you're just selecting the end of that. I'm going to copy this, and yes, this is extending really far, but that's okay because we're going to paint this back out with a mask later on anyway. So I'm just kind of bumping through here. Now we have to go the other direction, and I am really going to exaggerate these. Like I said, we're gonna make a mask later and paint those back in. So now these next ones are a little tricky because we don't have a clean line to line this up, but I do want the back side of this building. So what I recommend is, you may not have this option in your image. You can eyeball it if you'd like. You could lay down some perspective grid and find it that way, but I'm going to use some of the cabinets and things that are happening in the back of this building to kind of make sure this is lining up mostly in perspective, because I think it's going to work fine. And then let's see, make another copy, bring this over here. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. And I think that looks good. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay. So now we've got everything. Now, if you accidentally select off of your paths, and I've just went over here to our paths window. If you go to Windows and Paths, you can get to that if you don't already have it. So you've clicked off, you can't see them. Well, you just have to select the working path again. Now we're going to add a new layer to put our brush strokes that we're going to map to the paths on, and I'm going to call this perspective. Oh, wait, did I call this? What is this? Oh, I already made that. Sorry, I made that I made that layer already. Okay, so we have our layer. Now we have to select all of these. Select and try not to move them. It is tricky sometimes. So with all of them selected, you want to set your brush to whatever brush you want to use. I'm going to use a chalk brush that I always use. You could use any brush. It's not really going to matter what you use as long as it's a solid line, because it's going to show up anyway. But look how big this brush is. I don't want it to map that chunky. So make sure that you adjust this for the canvas size. Mine's going to be about 2 pixels. I'm going to click OK. And now, let's see, I got to select these again. I didn't think I deselected, but maybe I did. Yeah, I guess I did. All right, reselect them. I wanted to show you what happens just so you'll see it. If you don't have a layer selected, but you have your paths selected, I'm just going to click off the layers, and you come up here and right click, it's going to be grayed out. You're not going to have an option to stroke the path. So make sure you select an empty layer first. Now you should be able to stroke the path. I'm not going to simulate pressure. You can if your brush has funky, pressure sensitive ways of drawing. It's really just to taste at this point. I'm going to click on path, turn it off, and we should have our lines. So now we have to go and address them. They're very thick, very bold. Not really what I'm looking for at the moment. So let's do the thing. Let's add a hide all mask and select our brush. Right now our brush is the chalk brush, which is fine, but I'm going to just switch back to the soft round and just start painting these back in. And this does have some pressure sensitivity, just so that I can make adjustments. Make it kind of look like it's fading in. I do like an exaggerated perspective there. Okay, so looking pretty good. Let's, I mean, it looks decent right now, right? Starting to get there. Let's add some type to this and use the vanishing point filter. I'm going to start a new layer. Actually, no, I'm not. Well, yeah, why not? I'll call this vanish point type. And I've already went and found a little quote for us, and I just laid this out and saved it in my library. I think this was attributed to Leonardo da Vinci. I have not fact-checked this, but simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Sure, sounds good. I'm just scaling it up just in case I need some more definition when we go to apply this to the vanishing point. But first, I want to select the type, pressing Control or Command, grabbing everything that's in that layer, and then Control C to copy it to the clipboard. It has to be on the clipboard for this to work. Now we're going to select our vanishing point type layer, go into Filter, Vanishing Point, and now we can make a vanishing point. I'm just going to use, you know what, I'm going to use our vertical lines, and I'm going to use the bottom of this deck and just kind of come all the way out to our end of our building. And bam, there we go. We've got a plane, essentially. I want to extend this up so that we can continue to see. It's really cool. Once you get these laid in, you can drag these out and they stay in perspective. Once you've chosen your perspective, it's really nice. So then from there, all you have to do is press Control V. If everything worked correctly, I'm going to paste this. And we do have our type, I think. Oh, wow. I don't know what's happening there. It's in there. Let's try this again. Let's cancel that. Select this. Control C just to make sure. Let's try that again. Oh, I know what it was. I didn't deselect. So if you don't deselect, that's only going to show up where where your selection is. So let's deselect that this time. Select, go to Filter, Vanishing Point. You're going to have to remake. Usually when you hit OK, after you've made your vanishing point, it will stay, and you can just come back to that filter every time and reapply with that same vanishing point. Okay. Now it should work fine. Control V. Hey, now you have to drag it onto your surface. And from there, I just want to take it. You can even scale this by Control T. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to hold Shift just so it scales proportionately. And yeah, it may not be readable at the end. You know, adjust yours to taste. This is what we're going with for this. So we've got a little bit of a type thing going on here, but I'm not done. I want to bring our photo back in. Let me set this to multiply so that everything is looking good. So what are we going to do with this? I'm going to add, of course, I'm going to add another hide all. So hold down and hide all mask. We'll do it from the menu. So we can just go layer mask, hide all. And then again, make sure you have a brush set and that you're painting on, okay. I'm not sure why I can't make the brush bigger. Let's see. There we go. All right, so now I'm just going to paint, and I'm using real light. I'm going to fade out all of this on the end. I don't want any of the color here. I want this to kind of fade into our image. And I'm just going to bump over all of this because I want this all to be a little bit lighter. I just like the look of it. So I'm going to get rid of all of that. And, you know, not bad. I might bring back a little bit color in here. Maybe there, take some away up there. Something like that. But let's make it a little more fancy. I'm going to bring in another image with another stock Adobe stock images, another free one, and I'm going to drag this down here, I believe under this, And we have a blueprint image. And I'm just going to scale this. I'm going to press Control T to get to the transform tools options. And I'm going to rotate this, use one of these lines in here to kind of make sure it's somewhat vertical. Horizontal, sorry. And then I'm going to scale it up really big. Probably too big, but that's okay. Finding an area I like on this, I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to hide all again. So hold down Alt or Option and click the layer mask. And with this brush, make sure it's set to white. Start to paint back in some of those little blueprint details. I don't want all of that. I kind of want to leave that alone. And then let's see, what else can we do? We got a little bit of time left. Let's change the color of our lines. Let's try to make them all blue. So with the gradient, sorry, I don't know why I said gradient. With the solid color, I'm going to add a solid color. I'm just going to pick something in that same blue area, and I'm going to clip it to our perspective lines. And let's see, did I hide those? Yeah, you can see them. They're a little dark, a little light, so I might go in here and just make them a little bit darker. Click OK. Now you can just drag this, make a copy of this by holding down Alt or Option and dragging it down to the vertical lines. Clip it. Oh, I think we have to turn this to like color dodge, just so that you won't get all of this. Is this set to multiply? Yes. So multiply, this is set to color dodge. Grab this again, come down to our top of the lines, which again we'll have to set to color dodge. We're just adding a little bit of a blue tone on top of everything. Do we want to do it to main? Let's find out. And then maybe set that, clip it. Yeah, so we're really getting in there. Maybe we take this down a notch. Let's take that back to multiply. Lighten's not bad. Anyway, we're starting to make those lines a little bit bluish as well. And then I would probably do the same thing with the type. Why not? Grab this, clip this. Now we've got a blue type. I want to bring the type actually a little bit bluer. Something like that. All right, that's going to do it. That is making a little sketch, architecture sketch. Again, I recommend getting a photo that is going to have some 3/4 view so that you get some fun angles to play around with. And don't forget, we do have the, let's go back into this. We do have our share for review file. If you guys want to leave some comments, please feel free to do that. We're going to be taking a look at this on Friday. I have one more day of another challenge tomorrow, and then this is going to be my challenge on Friday. With your help, we're going to try and make this a little bit better. We've got a lot of people coming in here. Tyler Pate's even jumping in and leaving some comments. Annika is saying that this is a comment. True, I did ask for comments, and that is a comment. True facts. But that is going to do it for us today. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Stick around. We've got, speaking of Tyler Pate, we have another Illustrator Creative Challenge with Tyler Pate coming up next, and lots of good stuff today. So stick around for that. And hopefully we'll see you guys soon. Bye, everybody.